So we're up to Parshas Vayeshev, Shvi'i, Perek Mem. Vayhi achrat v'remu'ayla chati mashke melech Mitzrayim v'oife l'adinayim l'melech Mitzrayim. So the Saramashkim and the Saraoifim were put into jail for the offenses that they did against the king. What was the Saramashkim's offense? That a fly was found in the wine that he brought to the king. Saraoifim, that a stone was found in the loaf of bread that he brought to the king. When did this happen? Rashi says, in order to stop the people from talking about Yosef HaTzadik, so the Rebbeinu Shalom made this occur, made this happen, that they should now have a different thing to talk about, and now to talk about Yosef and Potiphar. According to that, it happened pretty soon after the story of when Yosef was put into jail. According to some other Mefarshim, it happened about 9 years later, because Yosef was in jail for 10 years, and it happened towards the end of his stay in jail. So the Torah calls them delusion surisim. Rashi touches delusion sar. Sar means a minister. Suris means a eunuch, means somebody who is mesidis. He can't have children, he's cut off. And the truth is that both are true, because the kings of those days did not trust neither the queens nor the people who worked in the palace. And therefore, anybody that worked in the palace, that the people serve wine to the queens, you have to make sure that they could not have any relation with the queens. Anyway, one day they had a bad dream, and the Yosef Tzaddik saw that they didn't look good. So zoyafim, the touch of that word that Rashi says means depressed. According to the Ibn Ezra, it means they were shaken. So what was the story? It says that we had a dream, nobody can explain it to us. Either it means that they asked other people to try to explain it before Yosef saw them, and the soothsayers, the necromancers and so forth to explain it, and they couldn't. Or, according to another pshat, the Ramban says, is that they just felt that nobody would be able to explain it, because this was something strange about this dream. What were the dreams? We're jumping ahead a little bit, but what were the dreams? The Saramashkim had a dream that he saw a vineyard, and the vineyard just started growing, and immediately it grew, and the branches grew, and the fruit came out, and everything, and all of a sudden you had full bunches of grapes, and he took these bunches of grapes and he squeezed them, and he made wine out of it, and he put it into a kois, a gavia, and gave it to Pharaoh, and he put it al kaf Pharaoh, which that was his job, Saramashkim. And he had in this, the Saraoifim had a dream that there were 3 baskets with loaves of bread on his head, and it was a bird eating from these loaves of bread. These were the 2 dreams, and they were very shaken by it. Why would they be shaken? Saramashkim's dream was very normal. This is what he did all the time. He grew vineyards, he took care of the vineyards, and then he made wine, and then he brought the wine to Pharaoh. It's a very, very normal dream for him. As well, the Saraoifim, he had baskets of fruit, baskets of bread, and he would put them on his head. Probably they carried these things on their head. It was not an unusual dream. So the issue is that there was something more to the dream. Either what was more is, according to Rashi, that, let's say the Ramban first, that each one dreamed the dream and also the explanation of the dream. So usually when you dream a dream, you don't also dream the explanation. Since they dreamed also the explanation, they were very shaken. Obviously, Saraoifim was shaken because his dream said that he's going to be killed. But the Saramashkim was also shaken because he dreamed something about fruits and this, and then all of a sudden he dreamed that in 3 days he's going to be let free. So that's what shook him. According to Rashi, it was even worse. Each one dreamed their own dream, and the other guys, which he didn't know, the other guy even had a dream, the other guy's explanation. So Saramashkim dreamed about making wine for the king, and then he dreamed that the Sara Oifim is going to be executed. And Sara Oifim dreamed about the thing with making the bread, and then he dreamed that the Sara Mashkim is going to be be let free. So each of them was very confused because the Sara Mashkim assumed if he dreamed about himself and didn't dream about Sara Oifim, it must be that just like Sara Oifim is going to be executed, he's going to be executed. Sara Oifim, on the other hand, dreamed about himself, that he's making bread, and then he dreamed that Sara Mashkim is going to be let free. But it sounds like he's not going to be let free. So they were all very shaken. But the other pshat is that they were shaken because they felt that they realized there's something odd about this dream, but they didn't know what it was. So Yosef HaTzadik said, listen, the Rebbeinu Shalom has a lot of explanations. According to Even Ezra, the pshat is dreams are from Hashem. So you need to know the explanation to the dream. You need to go to somebody who can explain it to you from Hashem. And that's Yosef HaTzadik. So might as well listen to me. And according to Ramban, it's that there's no other explanation or any other explanation you're going to get except the explanation that comes from Hashem is not going to be true. There is another pshat, which is that we have to understand Yosef HaTzadik saw that they had a real dream. He knew their dream and he knew the explanation. He also knew that they are not worthy to get a dream that's emes. Yosef was Baal HaChaloimus. The dream, Yosef is in charge of the dreams. The dream should have come to Yosef, but it wouldn't help if the dream comes to Yosef, because then they would think that he's just making something up. But if they had the dream and he explains the dream, and it comes true, then that tells them that Yosef is saying the truth. But if he would explain one dream, if he would explain both dreams well, he would say, oh yeah, you're going to go free and you're going to go free. He would say, if both things would be good, then okay, he's like everybody else. He just says nice things because he wants to make people feel better. But he's told one of them good news and he told one of them bad news, then that tells you that he was pretty certain about his explanation. And then it came true the way he said it, so you know that he's in tune and he knows what's going on. And Chizkini adds another point. If he would tell them that the explanation of the dream is going to be something that's going to happen in 3 months or 3 years from now, then every liar just says about something that's going to happen eventually. But if he says something's going to happen in 3 days from now, then you know that he is not lying. You know that he's very convinced that what he's saying is true. And if it actually happens, then you know that his conviction is based upon reality. So that's really the depth of this chulam. And Chazal darshan even more. Chazal in Masechta Chilul Daf Tzadik Beis Amud Aleph, and even in Bereshis Rabbah over here in Parshat Vayeshev, discuss that the dream of the Sara Mashkim is all types of neviasim for the Klal Yisrael. In the time of the Midbar, Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, the Gulasin, all the Gulasin that Yidden are going to go through, the Ge'ilas, the 4 koises of Ge'ilah, it's 4 times kois, all kinds of things are going on over here. Why is it? That's because these were Yosef HaTzadik's dreams that just came to the Sara Mashkim and came to the Sara Oifim. In reality, it's very simple why the Sara Mashkim got a good dream and the Sara Mashkim got a bad dream. Because the Sara Mashkim gave the kois to Pharaoh, and the Sara Oifim, the birds ate it. So the birds eating it means that he's dead. You know, birds don't eat live people, but they eat live bread, but not live people. So they didn't give it to Pharaoh. So that would be the thing. But there's another point also, because the Sara Mashkim said, I took the grapes and I made wine. So I did something. So I have value on this world. Sarah Oifim took ready-made bread. He did nothing. He didn't even take the ready-made bread. The ready-made bread was on his head. The dream starts with the ready-made bread on his head. So he didn't do anything. Someone that doesn't do anything, someone has no purpose, he might as well be dead. So that's how Yosef Atzadik knew that it meant that he's going to be dead. Pharaoh, on the other hand, didn't know the dream. So why did Pharaoh choose? Two people did the same avla. He chose to kill one person, didn't choose to kill the other person. Yeah, very simple. A fly flew into the wine. What do you want? He couldn't stop the fly from flying into the wine. The fly flew in. Maybe flew in a second before he brought it to him. But the bread to have a stone in it, he obviously didn't sift the flour properly. He wasn't careful. He was careless for the king's bread. That's just impossible to forgive. The Gemara says another thing. That the stone could be a sakuna, whereas a fly is only a mias. So we do need to study something. In the end of the parsha, first just attach of a word, salai choiri. Rashi says that choiri means with holes. So it's basically you take a liliv, and you flecht the liliv and make baskets out of it, and that's what the salai choiri is. The Ramban brings from Rav Sadia Guan that choiri means good bread, white bread that b'nai choiren eat, and there's an ayah to that from Yishalmi Masechta Vayeshev. Al Kapunim, that's the touch. I want to just focus on one more thing. Yosef Atzadik ended up having to stay 2 extra years in jail because he said, Ki im zachartani, remember me. And when you be by Pharaoh, tell him that you tell him about me. And you should know I was stolen from the land of the Hebrews. I didn't do anything wrong over here. Chazal say, now this was a town on Yosef HaTzadik, but if you look at the limit that they bring like this: Ashrei HaGever, Asher Sam Hashem Evtachoy, V'lo Yifuna El Rehovim, Ze Yosef. That's the Lushon of the Medrash. A person he's a lucky is the person who turns to Hashem and does not turn to the people. So why you tell me this is Yosef? It sounds like he did turn to the people. So the answer is the Medrash is telling us that Yosef HaTzadik did not turn to the Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Oifim. Yosef HaTzadik relied on Hashem, not on them. And he was telling him part of the piston of the chulam. He was saying that, why do you have a chulam emes? It's not you. You're not an udam chushev to have a chulam emes. You're not a tzaddik and a nuvi. Why did you have a chulam emes? In order for me to be let out of jail is why you had the chulam emes. So when you come to Pharaoh, you need to tell him this. And when you tell him, Pharaoh, who's a just king, is going to let me out. But it is a problem, because you can't just pardon people who are terrible people. So tell him that I didn't do anything wrong. He should review the case, and I'll find out I didn't do anything wrong. And furthermore, I'm not a slave. I was stolen. Pirates took me. I'm an important person. I'm Eirah to Ivrim. I'm from the Shpuch of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yankov. And therefore, I should be saved. Yosef did not say it with baktainer. He said, please remember me. And it sounds like he relied upon the Sarah Mashkim. So did Rabbeinu Shalom. I had to make enough time to know that the Sarah Mashkim is not remembering you, and it's only Hashem. But really, Yosef, the Medrash tells us that the Pusik in Tehillim says that Yosef Atzadik did not rely on them. Yosef Atzadik relied only on the Eibishter. Be'ezus Hashem Yizburach, I'll try to do another one with the Haftarah later today.